What do you do? What do you do in the bath?
Time for a purge, I guess, by airing an unpopular opinion. Rittenhouse is guilty as shit, and there's no excuse for what he did. America is a deranged country with deranged gun laws and concepts of self-defense that bear little or no resemblance to self-defense. This is a red line for me. I don't have that many of them. COVID, free expression, and this perhaps. But yeah, extrajudicial vigilante murder is a pretty hard red line for me. Again, like I say, I don't have many of them, but those that I do are pretty solid. Is this down to a cultural difference between Europe and America? Perhaps, but it's something that I see as being irreconcilable between me and whoever else is going on about these things. If the political poles were reversed, different people would be attempting to condemn or excuse what happened. People aren't operating on principle, they're operating on base tribalism, and that's unfortunate. I hate self-censorship. I feel like I have been self-censoring on this topic. I've mentioned something briefly on Twitter, and it's like headbutting a hive of bees or something, but I mean it. This is a red line for me. Extrajudicial murder on the back of provocation with an illegally owned firearm, illegally procured firearm, depending on which story you want to listen to. Yeah, it's a pretty hard and fast line. This is wrong, and he should go to prison. What has he actually been charged with? Well, use of a dangerous weapon. That's something that gets attached to all the other charges, and it adds about a 5-year modifier to the other charges. I don't think you can really say that he wasn't armed with a dangerous weapon, that he didn't use a dangerous weapon. So that's a mark against him in every one of the charges that are up against him. Reckless homicide. In the case of Rosenbaum, who approached him armed with nothing but a plastic bag, so it would appear... What if he comes at you with a pointed stick? The idea there is that you are so cavalier about someone's life that you just gun them down without too much of a thought, right? And Rosenbaum didn't appear to be armed with anything else but a plastic bag, and this is the slaying that kicked off everything else. Reckless endangerment of safety is another charge. That is basically firing without due care and attention for other people in the line of fire that could have perhaps been hit. A Mr. McGuinness is the witness on that, who was in the line of fire and could easily have been hit during the other extrajudicial vigilante slayings that were going on. First degree intentional homicide is one of the charges. That's the killing of Anthony Huber after the shooting of Rosenbaum. Shot at him, intending to kill him, and this is after the first slaying, with someone trying to interpose and stop someone that they rightly see as a murderer. Attempted first degree intentional homicide of Gage Grosskreutz, which means big cross. Again, this is after the shooting of Huber, and people attempting to stop someone they rightly or wrongly, I would say rightly, perceived as a murderer. First degree recklessly endangering safety, firing and missing, again placing others in danger in that incident. Possession of a dangerous weapon by a person under 18, whether transported across state lines, as reported and attested to in earlier reporting, and by his mother or not, borrowing it, makes no odds or any real difference. He shouldn't have had a gun. He had a gun that he shouldn't have, and he used it in an illegal manner. That much doesn't seem to particularly be in question. There's also failure to comply with an emergency order, which was an 8 PM curfew. He was still around midnight. So, for a lot of people this hinges on the idea of self-defense, but at some point you've got to ask yourself, when you go provocatively armed, hopped up on Fox News and right-wing bullshit and agitprop, looking to get involved in trouble, and you end up shooting people, provoking people and then shooting people, I don't think it's really self-defense at that point anymore, right? If I break into someone's house and they take a pot shot at me and then I kill them, that's not self-defense, right? Because I went there to do something wrong, which is an act of provocation, and them reacting to me doesn't legitimize my shooting of them in that instance. He's not allowed to have that gun. He shouldn't have had that gun. He shouldn't have been there. There was no need for him to be there. He put himself in the line of fire, he provoked people, he killed people. There's really not a lot of nuance here in any of that. The self-defense doesn't work if he's taken the opportunity to place himself in the line of fire and to stir up trouble. Right? That's why that's important, that he didn't have to be there. Self-defense maybe if he was in his own neighbourhood, protecting his own house or something, but not travelling to a place where you weren't supposed to be, where there was supposed to be a curfew, where you didn't need to be, where you didn't have any duty to be, or right to be, even. Or at least not past 8 o'clock. It's not complicated, really. And so we've just got people on teams rah-rah-rahing at each other. And this is a hard line for me. It doesn't matter that one of them was a paedophile or whatever else. It doesn't matter. The point is that this is an extrajudicial slaying by a self-appointed vigilante, which you cannot tolerate in a civilized society. You cannot tolerate in a society of laws. You're arguing for the law not to apply, which I thought was a criticism of the left in this instance. But no, this like COVID, it's a hard line for me. Extrajudicial murder is not okay.